G'day guys, this is my Toolies recap for 2018.
At Toolies 2018, woo! Toolies 2018!
So you might be thinking, why'd you go back down? Why are you doing it again? I've got 3 reasons for that. Number 1 is that my levers experience was a bit Number 2 is that it was probably one of the most memorable weeks of my life. It was bloody insane, and who wouldn't want to go back and do it again? And number 3 is that I was very, very bored. So, you know, I wasn't doing much. I wanted to do something for a few days before I start work. So it seemed like the perfect opportunity to go and make some memories with my mates. Anyway, so last time we stayed down at Dunny Lakes in Dunsborough, and this time we stayed at an Airbnb in Busselton. And it was probably a much better decision. However, Dunny Lakes provided parties, madness, and you got to meet a lot of people. The Airbnb was mainly just like a meeting point. We were only supposed to have 2 people staying there, but we had 4. Anyway, so on the drive down there, we knew that we were going to have a mental time.
Let's ride, little man, trip with the boys. Celebrating graduating is pure joy. We got each other's backs, so you better buckle up, 'cause when you come across us, you know you're gonna get fucked.
Alright, now getting into the nitty gritty of Toolies, we wanted to sneak into the zone. Now the zone for everyone on the other side of Australia is basically the raves. It's the big meeting point for all the leavers / schoolies. That's where you go and just have a mad time. We did say it was overrated in previous years. Obviously after the first couple of nights it does get repetitive. However, we only went for the first night, and we'll tell you how we got in. Okay, so a quick little warning. I'm not condoning what we did on that first night. I'm not saying go and do it next year, but if you do choose to do it, know that there are consequences, and you know, it might not pay off. But yeah, we managed to pull it off just through magic and just talent, I guess. So on the afternoon of the first day, us boys were thinking of strategies and tactics to try and get into the event. We ended up doing this. So on the first day of levers, people go to the Dunsborough foreshore to go and get these wristbands. Now, I think wristbands are used Australia-wide, and I think down in Dunsborough they cost around $110. I'm not entirely sure, but I'm pretty sure I paid about 105 or 110 last year. Anyways, they say the only way you can get into the zone or the rave is with one of these wristbands. So the group that we stayed with on the first night of Toolies, which was night 3 of levers, were very accommodating, lovely people, and they wanted to try and help us get in as well. So what happens is that you've got to try and take off your wristband in one piece. So you're not going to cut it, you're not going to do any of that. There is a tactic I saw in the waist discussion space where, so once you manage to get that white piece off the wristband, you've got to cut the teeth out from the inside. Then you have to feed the ribbon of the wristband through that white piece and try and get it back on, and just be careful because you don't want that white bit popping off. Anyways, you got to get that wristband back on the legitimate lever, and then you should be good to go. So the next step is getting on the bus without being spotted and making your way to the raves. So what we did, it was actually a little bit accidental just because we were a bit late, but there was about a minute to go until one of the buses left to make its way to the zone. So what you do, you hold someone's hand and you pretty much just run on. I mean, they're not going to check you, and if they do, they're not very good people. Joking. I guess that the security that we had didn't really do their job, so thank you. So for the second year straight, us boys were on the bus, we're on the way to Dunsborough. Now, I'm not going to lie, I was myself because I knew that one of the biggest tasks was still ahead of us, and that's actually getting in and executing the takeoff of the wristband and the reapplication of the wristband. So we made it to Quindalup, or wherever the raves were, and we hopped off the bus, and this is where us boys really start to stress because we know what we've gotten ourselves into, and if we don't pull it off, we're So once the girls get in, the 4 wristbands that were worked on prior to going to the raves have to come out of the venue and onto our wrists. So for the person bringing the wristbands out of the venue, you've got many ways to hide it. You can do the fanny pack hide, you can do the boob hide, you can do the back pocket hide, you know, just something that you're not going to get caught with. So obviously when the wristbands come out, we need to apply them onto our right wrist to make our way into the venue. Now Lockie, Dylan and Evan had no worries whatsoever putting their wristbands on. However, my white thing popped off. So I've had to go to the toilets, you know, not looking sus at all with my hands down my crotch having a little fiddle. And the toilets are bloody chock-a-block. I'm trying to like feed the ribbon through the white hole. So I go out and get Lockie to come to the toilets to help me because I can't feed this bloody ribbon through the little white hole and get it on my wrist. Every time I'd get it onto my wrist, pops off. Don't know, I might have funny shaped wrist or something. And might I add, this isn't your normal toilet urinal with like the little block sections. This is like a horse trough type thing. So like it's one long one. Normally when guys go for a piss, you don't want to be standing right next to someone because it's very awkward. You want to have at least like a 75 centimetre gap between each other. Anyways, so we're trying to hide this whole wristband situation. So Lockie comes in, we're in the corner of this urinal, right? Really long urinal, but we're standing right next to each other with our hands like pretty much down our pants. You know, I've got my dick out and I'm just there. I mean, I'm not really doing anything. I'm just blocking him. Lockie got it on, you know, I put it on my wrist, pops off again. I don't know what's wrong with me. Anyways, next minute, people we know walk in. Of course, people we know walk in and they're like, JAMO, Lockie. I put my dick away. I'm like, yeah, how you going? And they're like, you need to wash your hands. And I'm like, yeah, but we've got other things to worry about. It was a very stressful situation. So finally, after about 5-10 minutes, Lockie got it done and the boys were waiting for us in the line. We got in the line. And for those that went down to Dunsborough Levers, there's the old like zigzag line. You run down, you're giving all like the green people high fives and stuff. We're running with smiles on our faces. We know that we're that close. So the final step for us was the security checks. Now this was probably the scariest part because I don't like getting touched by big men. So there was this monster Maori bloke. He had like the neck tats. He had the freaking like rat's tail and stuff. He goes, yeah, arms out. I've got my arms out. And he's like touching my armpits. And I'm really ticklish. So I'm like laughing and stuff. And then he puts his hand on my dick and then my ass. And I'm just like, stop, please. I'll tell you what, I was about to square up. I was getting angry. I was like, come on, mate, let's go. I'm joking. I didn't do that. He probably would have squashed me or eaten me alive or both. Once that security guard took his hands off me and us boys walked through together, that's when our first night of Toolies officially started. To all the people that recognised us, thank you so much. It was such a great experience and it was a bit overwhelming and surreal to like meet you all in person because, you know, like right here, right now, I'm just looking at the camera just talking. And it's pretty sick to think that there's people on the other side and they can get something out of my videos, whether it's a laugh or like tips and advice, you know. So let's just jump back to the silent disco part. We were waiting in line for nearly 2 hours. I think it was an hour and 45 minutes or something. It was around about that. I was standing there with Evan and Lockie and we were just like, the lines are still my video doesn't really do the silent disco justice, but yeah. In my opinion, like the rave tents were actually better this year than they were last year. Yeah, they got into it a lot more. The parties that I had at Levers last year topped this year's by a country mile, but the raves this year were much better. I mean, this year's Levers got way more involved, which was good. We all really enjoyed the rave tent, so that's a positive. Check out this fella though. You know when there's a mosh pit and that one bloke steps in the middle and he's like pointing at everyone? Just put your finger down and get outside. So we left the zone after a really successful night and we headed back to where we were staying and the partying didn't end.
O-E-A-V-E-R-S. Woo!
O-O-L-I-E-S, Toolies.
Levers, woo!
So we woke up the next morning feeling very, very average, but we had a great view. Video, once again, doesn't do it justice, but we could see the beach from where we were staying on night one, and yeah, it's good. I decided to chuck my phone up on the dash and just try and record some clips to see if we got anything good driving, and some of this is absolute rubbish, but some of it's alright, so I'll just chuck it in. And yes, before you say anything, this is influenced from Carpool Karaoke, the Migos episode, so yeah, enjoy.
I wanna feel the with somebody. Hey, hey! Apparently 4 Seasons got all their piss taken off, mate. Yeah. Weapon of a tune, boys. Woohoo! Oh,
go, woo!
I want it, so I'ma go get it. I want it, so I'ma go get it. I want it, so I'ma go get it. I want it, so I'ma go get it.
So throughout our second day, it was pretty chill, and then we started drinking again in the early afternoon, and getting ready for night 2. In my opinion, one of the best things to do is just kick the footy with your mates. So we did a bit of that.
JAMO, watch this, mate.
Oh, Grandma's singing.
Oh, see. Nah. How do you feel? That's
Pull the camera out and I choked, mate.
And then, we caused a bit of mayhem that night because there was some stuff that went down. I'm not going to go into full detail, but Dylan had some plans.
Jamie's two that were like 7 o'clock.
Alright, that's it for this Toolies video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, whack it a like, subscribe. There's much more content coming shortly. Have an absolute belt. I hope you're all feeling alright and get better soon, and have a good one.
This is the bit that's going in, so.
Oh, so what do we do?
That's it. Just whenever it's recording.
Welcome to Leavers.
No, say it again. You made it. Welcome to
Welcome to Leavers.
Little man trip with the boys. We're celebrating, graduating, it's pure joy. We got each other's backs and you better buckle up, cause when you come across us you know you're gonna get fucked. And when the sun comes up we'll be running amok, and you don't want to be the one that drinks the king's cup. And when the sun goes down we'll be fooling around. There's no better